This is For Real. Randy, Nicole on your TV. Good morning.
Good morning. We're showing love to the Southpaws this morning. The best lefty in tennis put on a clinic down under. But first, the lefty who put on a show at Madison Square Garden to the city that never sleeps. It's New York, and it was Harden's time last night at MSG. Career high, 36. That's for a game. Here is Harden. MSG moment?
My players, superstars, say they had that garden moment. You feel like you've had one yet, or you still looking for it?
I'm still looking for it.
Oh, well, he found it last night. We're scoreless. It's early. First quarter step back, yes. 4-point play for Harden. He makes it look easier than it should be. Later in the first, we're tied at 16. Harden, another three. 19 points, 4 of 12 shooting in the first quarter alone. The rest of the Rockets, 9 points, 4 of 19 shooting in the first. It was a bit of a theme. Some might call it a problem, but in the second quarter, you're down 9. That's the issue. Down 9 to the Knicks. Harden working on Alonzo Trier. Too much contact. 3 and a foul. 4-point play. Harden has 25 points. We're still in the second quarter. That on Tim Hardaway Jr. Little butt pat. It's like, hey, man, you tried. You tried. 30-point streak, 21 games in a row. He only made 5 threes, though, did Harden. He shot 20 of them. Gets that to go at the buzzer in the first half. So he ties his career high at the Garden in the first half. Most in a half, 36 points, by a visiting player at MSG in the last 20 seasons. Now we're at 40 points, and we're still in the third. 66 career 40-point game, ties Jerry West for the 10th most all time. Now Rockets up 4 in the fourth. Harden, 49. Do I hear 50? How about it? He's the 5th player to have multiple 50-point games against the Knicks. Wilt, MJ, LeBron, and Rick Barry, the others. Layup and a foul, 54 points. Are we going to get double nickel like MJ did, wearing the 4-5 back when he came back in 95? Harden, a steal, foul. Knicks coach David Fizdale, he yells at official Natalie Sago. Sago's had enough, said, hey, take that for data. You're out. You're ejected. Harden, first player to attempt 20 free throws and 23s in the same game. Knicks down 4 under a minute to go. What is this inbound? What is that inbound from Houston?
I don't know. I'm coaching Suns team. Mike
D'Antoni's like, we set basketball back about 10 years with the way we played the last 4 to 6 minutes. He was not happy. Eric Gordon is apoplectic. PJ Tucker's like, man, what were you doing just putting the ball on the ground? There's a defender right here. Knicks down 2, now down 1, now up 1. Look at Trier balling. So Harden's got to take this into his own hands. The problem was the Knicks finally wised up and defended him away from the basketball. They double him up. They leave Eric Gordon, but Eric Gordon can shoot as well. He hits the 3. Rockets up 2. Order restored because the Knicks are going to nick right here. Turnover, midcourt, final seconds. Harden, that's 61 points. That's a Rockets franchise record. Let's hear from Rockets Radio on how that sounded.
Bump by Gordon. Gordon took it away. It's a steal. Here goes the Bear with 5 seconds. And a left-hand throwdown. 61. What an absolutely incredible ending for your Houston Rockets. A new franchise record. 61 points for James Harden.
61 is tied for the second most ever at the current MSG, and none of those 61 points were assisted. Once again, none of them were assisted. Harden averaging 52.2 points per game over his last 5. In the last 50 seasons, 5-0. The only player to have more points in a 5-game span is Kobe Bryant in 06. Kobe had 4 straight 50-point games during that stretch. Harden has had 3 55-point games during his current run. For Harden, though, it wasn't just about what he did, it was about where he did it.
This is one of the historical buildings in a sport that we have. Obviously, the fans are one of the best that we have in this league, and so it's pretty cool to come out here and just put on a show for them.
When you raised your arms after the final dunk, was it over just finally securing the win?
Yeah, for sure. We let the game slip away 3 times. And we've seen that we've been allowing that to happen these last few games. And when we have opportunities to close games out, we have to do it.
And a lot of landmarks. What about a career high tonight?
In the Garden, I'll take it.
You talked about him before the game, but Harden, 61 points. What could he do?
Maybe ask the next team that's playing him, because I don't know. I just feel like every time the ball leaves his hands, it's got a chance to go in, and that's greatness. And the guy is he's a great player.
I mean, we had a feeling he joined this crew, the best ever all-time performances at MSG. LeBron had 52, 11, and 9 against the Knicks in 2009 for a second straight year with a 50-point game at the Garden. Remember 2013? Well, Steph Curry scored a career-high 54 points. That was his first game north of 50 and a record for MSG because that night, Curry made 11 threes, more than anyone ever. In just his 5th game back from retirement, March of 1995, where, as you pointed out earlier, the 4-5, Michael Jordan scored 55, 20 of them in the first quarter. He had 35 at half. Kobe Bryant scored the 61 at the Garden in 2009. That was 2 days separated from LeBron's 52, so solid effort from the Knicks there. Kobe shot 61% from the field and was a perfect 20 for 20 from the line. And then last night, the first game in NBA history with 60 points, 15 rebounds, and 5 steals. James Harden is now the 5th player with multiple 60-point games in his career. Back on SportsCenter AM, and this is bad for Victor Oladipo and the Pacers. A little disruptive defense in the second quarter has probably ended Oladipo's season. Leg bent awkwardly. Pacers did beat the Raptors. More on that in a second. But Oladipo's going to have an MRI today. Already, though, the team is describing the knee injury as serious.
It's a tough situation to, lose. That kid has a beautiful spirit about him, and he is probably one, or if not, the most positive guy on this team.
He's very, very key and vital to what we try to do each and every day. Like I said, we're going to continue to play, continue to try to take his spirit with us each and every game and make sure that we're ready.
When bad things happen, of course, we take out the Twitter, and LeBron James did just that. You can go ahead and decipher the meaning of that. Look, Paul George had his injury when he played for the Pacers. He knows exactly what's going on, and you've got to feel for him. And Chris Paul could potentially make his return from injury later this week. Let's bring in Woj, because he's here. The Pacers, they're the number 3 seed in the East. So this not only impacts the Pacers, but it also impacts the Eastern Conference. Where do you want to start, Pacers or the Eastern Conference?
Well, certainly the Pacers. And the preliminary exam last night on Oladipo left the team extremely fearful that this is a season-ending surgery, that he'll need surgery, and he'll get the MRI today. But, this is a player who, has been really at the center of this revival in Indiana, and not just with the Pacers, but back at University of Indiana when he played there. Yeah. They were very quiet. This is a team nobody talks about. We don't talk about the Pacers, yet they're still right now the 3 seed. They come back to win that game. They're 32-15, and, this was a core group, tough-minded, really good defensively, that, you saw it last year against LeBron, almost took LeBron out of the playoffs early, and a team that nobody wanted to play in the postseason. Just a devastating injury, not only for Victor Oladipo, but this entire organization.
You touch on the impact that he's had off the court in Indiana, the revival of such a basketball-mad state, right? And it's unfortunately a franchise that is well-versed in dealing with these catastrophic injuries to big-name players. I mean, not that long ago, Paul George went through something like this. How uniquely suited is that front office, is that ownership to handle and absorb a situation like this?
Well, listen, this team without Victor Oladipo earlier this season, they were 7-4. When they had to play without him last year, they were winless. And so, listen, you're not going to replace him. There's no trade out on the market. There's nobody they're going to bring in, that makes them think, hey, we can perhaps hold on to a home court advantage in the playoffs. Now, they still are very much a playoff team. I'm not sure that the Pacers are going to drop all the way out of the East. Certainly an opportunity there now for Brooklyn, who's been the hottest team in the league here the last several weeks. They're going to get Karis LeVert back at some point here. And now Brooklyn, who's in 6th now, looks at that landscape in the East and says, we're going to be pretty solidified here in the playoffs. But this Pacer team will keep playing. Nate McMillan, their coach, has done as good of a job as any coach in the league over the last season and a half. And this is where, I think really a tough-minded organization will hang in there, stay the course. But there's no big deal out there for them to make. That's not going to happen.
One of the things the Pacers almost have going for them, I guess, in the next 15 games as they adjust, only 5 of those games are against current playoff teams. Look, the Pacers acquired Oladipo before the start of last season as part of that Paul George trade. Oladipo blossomed, and this year he leads the team in scoring minutes and usage. He's also on his way, or was on his way, to becoming the second Pacer to average 18, 5, and 5 in a full season. Of course, that won't happen anymore. Thanks, Woj. Let's show you how the game went last night. Raptors, no Kawhi, fourth straight game. So in the fourth, 2:15 to play. Raptors down 4. Serge Ibaka, team high 23 points. Raptors trailing by just 2. Next Pacers possession, Darren Collison knocks that one down. He had 17 points. And at that point, the Pacers were up by 4. 35 seconds to play. Raptors down 4. Danny Green, 3. It's back to a 1-point game. And then 15 seconds to play. Thaddeus Young. Back and forth, back and forth. Young, 23 points, 15 rebounds. Pacers back up by 3. 10 seconds left. Raptors still trailing by 3, and they have a chance here with Green. No, doesn't go on. That's how the Raptors lost the game, how the Pacers held on without their best player. 110-106, the final there.
All right, meanwhile, you got the Spurs and the Sixers. Jimmy Butler out for the second straight game, dealing with a wrist issue. Sixers has won 4 straight without him, but they're down 8 in the fourth. Here on the break, Ben Simmons just keeping it himself. 21 points for him, makes it a 6-point game. LSU love in the crowd. How about that? LSU won last night as well. Landry Shamet, the beneficiary here, because Joel Embiid starts the fast break with the pin block, and Shamet will finish with the three-pointer. Embiid was dealing with back stiffness. He was stretching it on the floor during breaks, played nearly 40 minutes. Brett Brown said he felt the responsibility to play. There's J.J. Redick, three-pointer and one of 15 assists for Simmons, so 21 points, 15 assists. He also had 10 rebounds. That's a triple-double. DeMar DeRozan, 26 points, just none there. Wilson Chandler stops him. It eventually leads to a foul on Corey Brewer. Nice pickup for the Sixers has Brewer been. I mean, he's a 10-day contract. He's in there in crunch 10 minutes. Greg Popovich calls a timeout, wants to draw something up, get something going. Yeah, that's not it, man. That is not it. Rudy Gay inbounding to Marco Bellinelli, and said Simmons tips it away. 122-120. The Sixers hang on and get that win. How about Ben Simmons, his 20th career triple-double, becoming now the 3rd youngest player in NBA history to reach that mark. Only Oscar Robertson and Magic Johnson got their 20th career triple-doubles at a younger age. That is strong company to keep.